Until I met my teacher, my existence lay frozen in the peaks and crags of my limited self. Like a summer sun, my teacher moved across my cold, inert world with an invitation to an adventure beyond shady crevasses. I began to respond to the luminous warmth of my teacher, until that which was solid released itself to the fluid aliveness of water, and I began to flow, moving upon the land, leaning in the direction of my source, touching and being touched all along the journey home.
This is consciousness fused with form. So whatever form happens to come up in your body-mind, consciousness concludes, that's me. This is better known as suffering.
Good morning, Adya.
Good morning.
It's great to be here with you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Looking forward to sharing some of this spiritual stuff with you and see what we come up with.
I look forward to it.
All right. I'd like you to compare Dharma to karma.
Dharma to karma.
As you know it, as you understand it. Yeah.
Dharma to me is truth. Thus to me is truth, is Dharma. Karma, conditioning. Karma is confusion. Karma is illusion. Collected ideas, collected views and opinions from a lifetime. And the Dharma is the truth that's right inside of that. The truth that's inside of the karma. The living seed of truth that's always right there, even in the midst of the karma.
But both have to do with our actions in the world, yes? What is that?
Well, they both display themselves as action. So karma is just ultimately a tendency. It doesn't start out being an action, it's a tendency toward action, a tendency towards thought patterns, and a tendency towards patterns of emotion, a tendency towards reactiveness of body, of mind, of feeling. This is karma in its sense, karma being the conditioning. Of course, as a life, as a human being, this turns into action, doesn't it? This tendency turns into thought and feeling, and then thought and feeling turned into physical action, relationship. And in the same way, Dharma, which is the truth of who we are, the truth period, Dharma being peace, Dharma being truly awake. This awakeness, this true Dharma of being, also displays itself through us. The truth also expresses itself when we realize the truth of our being. Then this truth gets expressed, lived out, acted. So when there's some intelligence that comes into us, then we start to see that I must not be simply what I think about myself. I must not be simply what I think about myself. And this in itself, this is a revolution. This is the beginning of a revolution. That I'm not really merely what I think about myself. It's a simple statement, isn't it? I'm sure probably most of the people in this world, certainly in this room, have heard such a statement before. And yet, most human beings in our culture spend an endless amount of time and energy trying to have better thoughts about themselves. When really it doesn't take a whole lot to actually look, and we start to see that I'm not whatever I think about myself. It's just thought. Whatever you think about yourself disappears when you stop thinking. You ever notice? It's gone. You think you're a great person? It's gone if you're not thinking, boy, I'm a great person. You think you're really kind of a rotten scoundrel, and as long as you're not thinking that, it's gone. You don't go from rotten to good. It's just gone. You're not even good. Not even bad. We think these things into existence, and then consciousness, which is so fused with form, believes it.
I've heard you talk about integrity, and when I hear you talking about dharma relative to karma, I think of a certain integrity of listening before we act.
That's it. This is the only way to get to the truth of our being, to the true dharma, to the true truth of what we are, is a deep, deep listening. First, when we listen, there's often the karma, conditioned ideas and views and feelings and all of this. This is the collected confusion of a lifetime, right? The collective resistance to what is or what has been. And in the willingness to listen and to question, is this really true? Is this really who I am? Is this karmic created self really who I am? The only way to find the answer to that was with this very deep state of listening. So we're actually touching into something that's deeper than conditioned self. This listening is essential. This stopping the movement, stopping within the movement of karma, to listen to what we are, to listen to the stillness of who we are. This is essential.
And this quality of listening, it's not just the mind that's listening. Is it the body? What is?
It's the whole being. The whole being. It comes into a state of listening. Of course, listening is also becoming deeply conscious. When we listen, we become deeply conscious. So listening is an openness of mind. It's not so much an activity of mind, that the mind is going to listen. It's an openness of mind. It's a relaxation of mind. A listening on the level of emotion is not we're listening for a particular emotion, listening for a feeling state or a sensation, but the emotional body is opening itself so it can feel that which is beyond feeling ultimately. And then consciousness itself, that which is deeper than thought, deeper than feeling, is a deep listening. Listening to that which can't be spoken. But when we see that the center of our own self, the center of our own being, the center of our own sense of I, cannot be defined by the thought forms or feeling forms or forms of ideology, forms of body, forms of mind, forms of identity. That the I itself, that which is constantly awake, can come out of being fused with form. And it's this consciousness that becomes conscious of itself.
In the New Testament, after healing miracles, the healed would often offer gratitude to Christ, and he often would reply, "Thy faith has made thee whole."
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
Well, faith is always what makes us whole. If we understand faith to be a total trust, an absolute trust. Because this is really what the Christ within, or what the embodiment of Christ called Jesus was really doing. A being which is so transparent to that truth, to the Christ within. Just emanating that, right? And in someone who's sick, whether it's physically sick, emotionally sick, whatever, that becomes so powerful that person has to listen. They are stopped. The person is stopped. And in